My name is Miranda Rink. I'm doing a close reading of Sapphire's book, Push. This is a story about Precious Jones, who is in a home where she's experiencing a lot of abuse and rape by her father, and it walks alongside her as she gets out of that situation, gets out of that setting, and grows forward from it. I'm examining a sentence from page 125. I'm kind of looking at the whole page. It's a big piece where she's accepting what's going on or what has gone on in her life. One of the coping mechanisms that she observed as she was living in that abusive situation was separating herself, like from her outside self and her inside self, kind of making a divide there and believing herself to be someone different on the inside and the outside. And so the section I'm looking at is, since I ain't no white bitch, I understand that now. I'm not a white bitch. I am not Janet Jackson or Madonna on the inside. I always thought I was someone different on the inside, that I was just fat and black and ugly to people on the outside. And if they could see inside me, they would see something lovely and not keep laughing at me, throwing spitballs and poly seeds at me. That Mama and Daddy would recognize me as I don't know, precious. And that's the part I want to examine, is this end of the sentence, that Mama and Daddy would recognize me as I don't know, precious. As it's written in the book, the precious is a capital P, as is her name. But reading this, it just breaks your heart because you understand that she's desiring to be cherished, to be held as precious, to be thought of as valuable. And right here is a cool point where, like, the purpose of her name coincides with this longing of her heart. And that's what I want to argue, is that in these books, names are important. Names are not just names. Names symbolize the flip of a coin. They symbolize an acceptance of self. Contrasting this with another book we've examined, which is Zami, A New Spelling of My Name, literally looks at the concept of Zami, examining the cultural implications of that name and of that concept, and our main character, Audre Lorde, stepping into that setting and stepping into that identity. When we're born, we're given names. We have no control over that. But it is an entirely different thing to step into the identity of what that name means. If you don't know what your name means, I definitely recommend looking it up. Names are not merely something to call someone or identify with, but they're a concept, they are a title, they are an assignment of value and worth. And in this book, in this line, that Mama and Daddy would recognize me as I don't know, precious, she's recognizing that she is precious. That is who she is, that there is value and worth, and that her parents failed to recognize that in the way they were treating her. This is a pivotal point. As we walk through the book, we watch her wrestle against a lack of identity and a lack of investment, a lack of purpose. In the beginning, there's so little freedom for creativity, for individual self to exist, because she's under the heavy, heavy weight of these two abusive parents. But as she's removed herself from that setting and as she's stepped into a place of safety, and as she's been around positive influences who have allowed her to flesh out who she is and that she is precious, now on page 125, deep into the book, she can recognize she was not treated correctly by her parents, that her parents did not recognize her as precious, even though she knows herself to be precious. This book examines the harsh, harsh picture of her name being violated, like in the way she is treated, as she is treated as trash, as she's treated as nothing. For her to then recognize herself as precious, there is triumph in that. I ache about it. Like, there's just such tragic triumph in each of these stories as the main character has stepped into their identity and stepped into victory within their identity. It's a rebirthing process. It's a process of dignity being refound and reestablished. It's a process of independence being found and established. She starts this book recognizing, like, she doesn't know who she's talking to. She doesn't know who she's telling this story to. But the facelessness of the audience to this line is so important. This is her desperately mourning. This is her shouting into the void, and like anyone who can hear it. There isn't a specific audience that I can identify. And yet that still makes it so important. Like this realization that she is precious, that is so important. Because it's not about us, it's not about the audience, it is about her. This book is completely written from her internal voice, and we get to watch it as readers, but this story isn't for us, this is for her. This grabs you, and this makes you want to cheer, and this makes you want to cry, and it makes you so desperately proud of our main character that the longing of her heart was to be called according to her true name. She's not Clarice. She, throughout the book, fails to identify with that name. She identifies with Precious even before she knows that she's Precious. Names are important. Using names is important, and knowing what our names mean is important. Go look up the meaning of your name. Check it out. It's pretty cool. Thank you.